Welcome to the replay and welcome to everybody joining me live. This is Nona and we are going to be talking about tea today. Obviously, I want to say thanks for joining me and I want to say please say hello in the chat or the comments depending on how you are watching us today. And we're doing a couple of things different today. First of all, I'm not going to be making any tea. There's a couple of reasons for that, but none that are specifically about the tea. I've got something here. The tea that I have, well, let's just say it might be, potentially is, a tea that's coming up for our live sale that is going to be coming up with two blend-only event teas, and maybe I'm trying one. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it's not that at all. But anyway, so please say hello in the chat or comments. Let us know what you're drinking. I will be looking down to kind of watch our chat and comments. Now, one of the things that I want to say is, did you know that 90% of people pair their soups and stews with the wrong drink? If you are drinking ice water with a hot bowl of chili, you're actually dulling your taste buds. Today, we're going to change that. We're going to match some of the most popular soups so far that I found for 2026 with some of our loose leaf tea blends that will make your dinner taste more like a 5-star restaurant than just average. So we do. Awesome. So let's see. Kim is drinking Starlight Pear and she had Aloha Breeze this afternoon. And Diane is having some hot lemon zinger. That's awesome. We're going to be talking about some of those teas today when we're talking about soups. So I really wanted to kind of get right into the pairings. Like I said, I might be drinking something that is going to be for our live event sale only tea blend, then I might not be. But I wanted to get right into the hot soup and stew and tea pairings. The reason for that is this is the time of year where it's cold out and then it's warm out and then it's cold out, and it's a very much a soup and stew kind of time of year. And so I really wanted to pair those with some soups because there's some soups, and we're going to even talk about my favorite soup. Okay, my current favorite soup. And when I tried a tea with it, how much the flavor really changed and brought out some more notes of the soup. So, okay, right now in the chat or the comments, if you know me, you may know this, you may not, but what do you think my favorite soup or stew is right now? I will tell you, when I was younger, it was something different. And I will give you a hint, it's not chicken noodle soup, but when I was really little, chicken noodle soup was one of my favorites. But that is not what it is, so there's one you can chime off. But I have a favorite soup. But what do you think my favorite soup or stew is? Put it in the chat or the comments. I'm really interested to see if you get it right. You might, but let's see. Okay. Meanwhile, while you're putting that in, I'm going to talk about the number one pairing since I already talked about chicken noodle soup. Which tea would I pair with a classic chicken noodle soup? That is going to be our Ancient Green Dragon. So in some cultures, tea is actually used as the broth base, and jasmine-based teas specifically are going to add some floral notes that mimic fresh herbs. So if you have a traditional, somewhat saltier or a chicken soup, you are going to want that higher quality Ancient Green Dragon. The floral aroma is going to cut the salt. It's going to make the veggies kind of pop in your mouth and almost have more flavor. So stop using water for your soup. You could even use the tea in with your broth instead, just saying. Okay, let's see. Kim said minestrone soup. All right, well, we'll see if Kim is correct. We'll give you a chance to put in what you think my current favorite soup is right now. All right. So my number 2 pairing is another one that is a favorite from childhood. I'm not going to say if it's current favorite or not because I'm trying to get you all to guess and see if you get it correctly. And that is a creamy tomato soup. Let's see. My handy dandy assistant, who is also scarfing supper down really quickly. So if you hear a bowl going in the background, that's why. He said cheddar broccoli, but actually we're gonna go with cream of tomato soup. Now, I will tell you that both that creamy tomato soup and the one that my handy dandy assistant put in there, a broccoli cheddar soup, I would pair either one of those with a nice Earl Grey. So Dominique, there's your favorite blend, but I'm pairing it with a soup. So the oil in the Earl Grey comes from bergamot, as you know, and this is citrus. Now, citrus is a great secret ingredient that many chefs use to brighten a heavier cream soup. So once you move into those kind of cream soups, anytime you have citrus in your tea, or a lot of times they'll add some citrus to it, a little bit of lemon juice or something else, depending on the flavor they're going for. It is going to brighten up that heavy cream soup. It's going to make it seem a little bit lighter. It's going to give it a better mouthfeel. So that is one of the reasons why I would pick Earl Grey. It's going to almost act like it's got a hint of a squeeze of that citrus in your broccoli cheddar or that creamy tomato soup. You'll taste in that broccoli cheddar soup, you're actually going to taste more of the cheese because it's going to cut through that heavy cream. So, oh, Diane said Minnesota. I do love some Minnesota. I don't know how to spell that either. I just always have sounded it out. I do know how to make it still, although we can't get all the ingredients here. So Minnesota is a soup that my mother-in-law introduced me to maybe a day or two ago. Okay, a hunk of years ago. And man, it's like a salt pork, potato, and pasta soup. And I know that sounds really crazy, but it is so good. It is so hearty. It is one of the ones that she taught me. She was really gracious and taught me how to do it. And I've made it many, many times. I did have to move. We can't get that specific cut of the salt pork out here. So I think we were living in Texas, might have been at Fort Benning, Georgia, when we had to stop using that salt pork and we actually had to go with bacon, which it ended up tasting very, very similar. But it is just an incredibly, yeah, she was like, it's just a poor person stew, but it is super, super yummy. That is an awesome one. All right. I will tell you that Kim is correct. Yay, Kim. Pat yourself on the back. Not too hard. We don't want you to be coughing again. But minestrone right now. An authentic, true Italian minestrone soup is my current favorite. It has just edged out over, and it's been recently, I would say within the last year or so. Our daughter went to Italy. She brought me back this incredible Italian cookbook, and we went to some of the authentic recipes, and the one we found in there was just delicious. So, all right. So there you go. We're going to talk about that one later, though. So not right now. We're going to go to our third pairing, which is a hearty beef stew. You could even have a lamb stew in this one, a game meat, heavy, more red meat, bison, beef, those kind of things, stew. This is one where you're going to want to have a tea that kind of has some smoky notes to it, or so an oolong, like the holiday oolong, a holiday blend that has the oolong and the cranberries and the vanilla and the orange zest, that would be really, really good. Handy Dandy's assistant minestrone's soup last week was with, see, Kim, that is exactly, he made our traditional minestrone soup, and yeah, he does a great job with the sofrito in it, and it's super easy. It's the house smells amazing. It is, and it feeds a lot of people, so it's always a good choice for a potluck. So for that beef stew or that lamb stew or those heavier red meat stews, I am going to say like a holiday oolong, or I'm going to say morning Irish, because you're going to have a little bit more of the malty flavors. the thick meaty beef stew, you need a tea that can have some depth to it, some boldness to it to bring out the flavor of the beef. And so that is one of the reasons why I would go with that one. All right. But yes. Okay. So chili. Now that's another thing that we will sometimes bring to potlucks or meetings is a nice big chili. Chili is a spicy soup. Even if it's on the there, even if it's not like spicy hot, but there's a lot of spice and a lot of depth of flavors in it. So this is where we're going to fall on the chais, a ruby chai or an onyx chai, especially. Uh, the chai with the chili is a match in flavor heaven. The trick is not to over sweeten it or not to put in a sweetened chai blend. We want to keep the spices clear and sharp and bringing the best flavor. So, fun fact, capsaicin, the heat in the chili, and the warming spices like the cinnamon and the cardamom and the clove in the chai blends activate different heat receptors. So you're going to get more of a layered warmth versus a burning warmth. And if you like chili, let me know in the chat or the comments if that's something that you eat a lot. I know we like that one. I think we used to eat that a lot more. We've been moving into the minestrone a little bit more, a little more of the vegetable end of things. So, all right, there we go. If I get questions, please, handy dandy assistant, let me know because I'm trying not to look at the comments all the time. Okay, so the number 5 soup is going to be a potato soup. Very popular. I know there are a lot of restaurants that have them. Won't you be cold if you eat chili? Oh my goodness. All right, that's it. We're not going with the dad jokes today. All right, potato soup is typically a very creamy and mild soup. This is why we're going to want to pair it with our like Emerald Garden, a lighter, delicate, and balanced green tea. But this is also one, depending on the spices used in the potato soup, where Kim, I think you said you're drinking the Starlight Pear tonight. That's another one because it's just pear and apple and the green tea. Now with the potato soup, again, you're going to have kind of that acid from the apple in there, and that's going to cut back on the creaminess and really bring out the flavor of the potatoes and the vegetables and everything like that. But it's also going to keep your meal feel very light and balanced. You're not adding an extra heaviness because you've got the heaviness in the cream soup and you have the lightness of the green tea. So we like chili, but we don't eat it a ton. Still have some bean haters here. I get it. So Minnesota actually has kidney beans in it, Kim. And what I will tell you is my father-in-law, who I still miss so much, he loved minestrone, but his tummy didn't love beans. So he said you couldn't cook the minestrone without using the beans. So you have to kind of spoon them out. And he would do that. He would have a separate bowl for the beans. Was it? You thought it was mom? I thought it was dad because of his stomach. Diane, who was it? Was it mom or dad that takes the beans out of the minestrone? I think it was dad. Diane's going to have to read the tiebreaker. It could have been mom. Anyway, one of my in-laws, they would take the beans out and then the other in-law would eat them. But it's kind of funny. I mean, it was just funny, but that person insisted you had to have the beans in there. And there's what? It's mom. See? Okay, everybody, I'm wrong, completely wrong. Handy dandy assistant is correct. There you go. So mom would dig them out, okay, and dad would eat them. That's right. And so, but you have to have the flavor in there. But it's one of those things. It's not unusual. But okay. She does the same thing with peas. I never noticed that she did that with peas. Like I don't know. I haven't remembered that, but that's okay. We don't eat a lot of peas when we go back to New England, so I guess I just never had an occasion. But All right. So one of the other things that I do want to talk about green tea, it enhances something called umami and the potatoes that actually kind of have those kind of compounds in them naturally. So that's one of the reasons why I would want to go with the green tea and I would want to go with that potato soup creaminess. That's one of the reasons why they work so well. They have very similar compounds in the green tea and in the potatoes. All right, I talked about broccoli cheddar earlier. I talked about the broccoli cheddar earlier, but I also wanted to bring it up a second time because it was one of my favorites before. But I also have a different tea combination. So many times people want a lighter tea or they like different things. And this is one of the ones where Diane is drinking the very perfect tea for tonight. And that is our lemon zinger, that lemon ginger tea combination. And the reason for what I'm going to talk about this time is the cheese and the richness. You need that citrus, like I mentioned before, from the Earl's blend, but not just citrus, ginger also helps to brighten and cut back on the heaviness of the cream. The pairing there between that broccoli cheddar soup and the lemon zinger tea is really going to bring you that balance more than you will believe. Ginger is actually considered one of the best natural palate cleansers in the world as well. So just there's another little fun fact for you. All right. Okay. Um, the next one is going to be more kind of an Asian thought process, and that is a faux. And if I know that my son-in-law loves faux, they eat a lot of Asian type foods and create and cook a lot of Asian type foods. So if I was going to make a recommendation, you could do like that ancient green dragon, but I'm actually going to say green mint is going to be better. So the faux is going to have herbs and aromatics in it. And so you want a tea that can kind of match and contrast a little bit. The jasmine, the ancient green dragon would or the emerald garden would enhance some of the floral notes. But really, this is one of the reasons why I love the idea of the green mint, because you have the green tea in there that's going to kind of enhance some of the floral mints, but you also have the peppermint, which is going to refresh your palate in your mouth in between bites. So you're actually going to be able to, it's kind of like having some of the cleansing in every bite, and which means you're going to really take on all the flavors in your mouth and notice more of the flavors than you normally would have. Unusual fact for you, faux broth and tea share a cooking philosophy. They really want to go with a longer extraction, low temperature, maximum aroma, and that's kind of one of the reasons why they work so well. Ramen, I'm going to stick in that green tea, but I am going to, so it's pretty easy to follow on Emerald Garden since it's a lighter tea, but I would actually put, I'm trying to think of some of our other ones. I would actually kind of like to float in that jade chai in here because you're going to have notes of the green tea, which are going to be really incredible with ramen, but you're also going to have some of the spices from the chai, and those are really going to bring out some of the spices that are already in this soup. So there you go. All right, lentil soup. Lentil soups are very popular, very healthy for you. And what would we put with a lentil soup? Well, you could go with any kind of really earthy noted green. I wouldn't go with the like ancient green dragon. I'd be more in the green mint or in the emerald garden, those kind of soups. But I would actually say a nice straight black breakfast blend. Words not working. um, you're going to want that. Or you could even do serene sunrise here. The lentils are hearty and grounding, and so those earthy, lighter black tea blends especially Serene Sunrise with a little hint of cinnamon in it, are going to really bring out more of the warmth of the lentils. And here's a fun fact. Tea polyphenols enhance the nuttiness within legumes naturally. So you're going to get more of a nutty note to it, which is great. Okay. Here is one that I don't know how popular this is here in the Midwest, but in New England, it's a pretty popular soup. Anybody want to guess what it is? So put in the chat or the comments. What soup do you think that I'm talking about? I'm going to give it up a minute. It's a very New England kind of a soup as opposed to other regions of the country. Anybody have any guesses? Go ahead and put it in the chat or the comments. Sorry, everybody, we haven't put our heat up today, so it's still 68 degrees, and I'm getting a little chilly just sitting here. Normally, I'm moving around and doing stuff, so I'm like rubbing my hands because my fingers are getting a little chilly. Clam chowder. Diane is saying clam chowder, and that is a really good guess. That is not it. All right. I'm talking about a butternut squash soup. So if we are going to talk about a butternut squash soup, I am definitely going to be making the recommendation of Serene Sunrise. The black tea is going to bring out more of the flavor. Plus, you're going to have the cinnamon. You could use an onyx chai here for Stephanie. You could use you could use an Irish Sunrise would be work really well here too. So you're going to want to have kind of that black tea and some cinnamon in it. Now there might be some other spices as well, but really you want to fall in there. The sweet creaminess of the squashes is you want to pair that with some of the baking spices. It's going to bring thoughts about Thanksgiving and those kind of fall notes, but it is an absolutely delicious combination. Highland Dawn, I mean, you could put Highland Dawn in there. I like the idea of the cinnamon though on this one. Highland Dawn would have been a really good one for our previous one that we were just talking about. Don't ask me what it is right now. I can't remember. When I was talking about the breakfast teas or the cinnamon, whatever soup that was that I was talking about. Yeah, but it's gone now, people. It's all right. Squash soup, a butternut squash soup is going to contain some aroma compounds that are very similar to apples and cinnamon, which is why appealing would be a good one. Again, you've got the black tea and you have the cinnamon. And this one we're adding the apples to, so the spiced teas really make that natural match. So, okay. There's one pairing that a lot of people do not expect, and this is going to be French onion soup. And I'm going to pair that with a morning Irish. I am going to go all the way to morning Irish. Irish Sunrise would work, but really I want a dark, malty, black soup. You've got the rich caramelized onions in the soup. You want to meet that with the malty sweetness of the tea. You could use Highland Dawn in this. It's going to really elevate the flavors in a really delicious way. The same process that browns onions also affects tea leaves. The the Maillard reaction, something in a similar way. So it's going to kind of carry some notes together. Okay. We're at my favorite, everybody. We're at my current favorite of the minestrone soup. So I've got some interesting things to talk about because I'm actually going to talk about two teas. One, I think they'll both kind of surprise you, but I do want to talk about them. Now, these are not the only ones. You could use a traditional oolong to match in your minestrone soup or a black tea. However, when you are making a very traditional Italian minestrone soup, you're dealing with a very complex garden in a bowl. The acidity from the tomatoes, the earthiness from the beans. You've got some savory notes from the Parmesan rind, the brightness of the herbs like basil and oregano and things like that, especially if you use fresh ones. So you want a bold tea to counterbalance on this one. Most people are going to want something more savory to match with the Italian food. Again, we're going to want those dark teas, those black teas, because they also have the extra tannins. We've talked in the past about how some of those tannins can be similar in nature to the tannins in a red wine, which is what a lot of people would consume with the minestrone or Italian food. So in this one, I am actually going to make the suggestion of Maiden's Blush. Now, this is rooibos and rose petal. And remember, the rose petals add the honey note. Rose buds add a floral note. I mean, the rose petals have some floral to them, but they're more a honey note. But they're going to really balance well in a contrasting way. So let's talk science. Minestrone soup is very heavy on the acid from the tomatoes and salt from the Parmesan broth and the beans. And the rooibos is naturally sweet, has woody notes, but zero tannins. So it's going to mellow out, kind of grounding the base out a little bit against the sharp acidity of the tomato broth. But the rose petals are going to be a high aromatic top note. A lot of Mediterranean cooking has floral notes, rose water, orange blossom, citruses. They're going to often to balance the heavy earthy legumes and beans and tomatoes and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why it would work really, really well. Also, as we were talking about before, minestrone is famous for its sofrito. So that's onion, celery, and carrots. And then it has fresh herbs like basil in there. And garlic. I mean, you have to have garlic. I mean, I love garlic, but that's another story. Like our family loves garlic, so we come from the philosophy there can't be too much unless we have other people coming over, in which case we'll cut it back just because some people don't like garlic as much as we do. But one of the other reasons why this will match is the rose petals contain geraniol, Geraniol. Too late in the day for me to pronounce that correctly. I'm sorry, everybody. But that is a compound that is found in some varieties of basil and thyme. And when you sip the tea, after a spoonful of soup, the rose petals are going to kind of pull some of those herbal flavors out of the broth and to make the vegetables almost taste fresher and less stewed because of these compounds. And so that's one of the reasons why I really love this combination. Okay, have I tried it? Yes, I actually have. I don't just talk about it. I don't just like do the research. I actually try so many of these. Well, not just me. Handy dandy assistant is always a really good person to try things with, because he eats almost everything. Just ask our kids, especially Katie. He's tried some concussions that he hasn't always enjoyed from our daughter, but anyway, another fun fact for you. Did you know that in the 17th century, rose water was actually a common ingredient in most savory stews? Before vanilla, it was the it flavor, like the flavor you had to include. So we're actually kind of bringing back a centuries old royal pairing when we do this. All right. Like I said, it's going to really kind of bring you more of that summer garden in Tuscany kind of flavor. But if you really wanted to do something different, then you have to kind of use a tea that's not available right now. So I'm going to tease the live. Now, first, let me stop. Our live sale had to be put off one more week. And the reason it had to be put off one more week to the 27th, let me look at a calendar, people. Yes, the 27th is because I'm still waiting on an ingredient to come in. So because we use the small co-ops and local farmers and things like that, sometimes we hit a delay, and I've had to put it off once, and now I'm going to have to put it off one more week. But I have confirmation that it is supposed to be coming in the next couple of days. And that is because we are going to be having One of our event-only teas is a honeybush tea. And it's going to have honeybush and rose petals and some raspberry leaf, which you'll find out has some incredible flavor combinations. And this tea, not named yet, but this tea is going to absolutely be perfect for a minestrone as well. It has the honeybush teas. So we typically will buy like a tiny, like, I don't know, not even an ounce. It's like a half ounce of something. And I will try the tea when I'm trying to source out different things. But honeybush is going to have this incredible kind of apricot honey finish, which against a minestrone soup is going to have like kind of add like a balsamic glaze sort of flavoring for your soup. This will help cut the salt. It's going to make the basil and the oregano in your bowl pop so much more. So again, we want to add the rose petals. Now the raspberry leaf is going to add a whole other element to it. Hang on, let's take a sip. So this new event tea that we'll talk about doesn't have a name yet. We'll call it X or Z, right? We'll call it Z for right now. The rooibos we've kind of is great, but we want to not use rooibos. It will have honeybush in it. So we'll have that earthy, woody, slightly nutty, apricot notes, honey, and then we're going to have the honey notes with a little bit of floral. It's going to give a fuller mouthfeel. So sometimes certain teas like a rooibos tea, a lot of times will have kind of a dry note on the palate. It's one of the reasons why we have to really be careful in how we balance it with the other ingredients. Whereas the honeybush is going to have a fuller, thicker mouthfeel. It's not going to be as drying on the tongue, so to speak. So it's also the honeybush is going to ground the tomato acid just a little bit better than the rooibos. So there you go. That is, yeah, we are.
Well, that was a long time ago. It's like, we're coming for the honey bushes. Yeah.
Okay, so
you don't tell me these things.
I don't always tell the handy dandy assistant what's in my head. He's been working on a couple of projects that we have a deadline that have to be finished for some very stringent reasons. They absolutely have to be done for outside factors. So he hasn't really been in to have conversations about teas and what's going on. Let's see. So let's see. Are you a cream soup person or a broth soup person? Put it in the chat or the comments. I'm interested to see who's more of a cream soup and who's more of a broth person. I have to say in the past I've been much more of a cream soup, but I am really enjoying the broth soups right now. I don't know, but I like chicken noodle soup, but then I liked cream of tomato soup as opposed to straight tomato soup. I loved cream of broccoli, but like minestrone is really, really good. So I don't know. Anyway. And then keep in mind when we're talking about these teas, again, we want to be using the loose leaf tea blends. They're better than the bags. We don't want to add microplastics and flavors and extractions and the antioxidants and all those reasons why we want to do it. So Kim says yes. I think, Kim, that means yes, you like them both. Diane's 50-50. See, I get it. It's so hard because there's so many really great flavors out there. See, Kim is yes to both. That's what I thought. So I really wanted to do this one because I don't know if you realize, but one of the things that is really popular right now and even gaining in more and more in popularity are what we call soup lucks. So think about potluck, but it's all different kinds of soup. Soups are becoming very, very popular. And so I've read a couple places that 2026 is officially the year of the soup luck. So better than showing up with soda or just plain water, here's why you want to maybe bring some tea with you when you go to one. I like the idea of it. I know we used to go to a potluck that was a soup and sandwich potluck, but I tell you, after some of the soups, I don't even need the sandwich. But okay. I did want to say again, we are moving the live to the 27th. We have been waiting on a crucial ingredient. When I checked just before I went live tonight, it is still due in tomorrow. And as long as it comes in tomorrow, we are good to go. If not, we may have to put that particular blend off until the one after it. But there will be some other things. The other thing is, I want to say VIPs, watch your emails coming out on Tuesday. Probably Tuesday afternoon because our appointment's in the morning. So probably Tuesday afternoon, watch for a VIP announcing your early access to some of our teas that are only available seasonally. So there you go. And announcements about some of the other things. So while I'm here, I'm trying to decide between a couple of different teas to have the other tea as our event only blend. What tea blend would you most want to enjoy? So in the chat or comments, go ahead and put which one you think you would want me to have as an event only tea. And no, Kim, we cannot put our 4-year on there. We cannot put the leap year. It's not leap year time, so it can't be that one. But or what I'm talking about is a list of ingredients like, hey, I really kind of a black tea or a rooibos, or we're gonna have the honey bush for the one of them, and then I like to do 2 teas. So let me know what you would like to see or some of the ingredients that you would like to see in a second tea. We do continue to create different ones. We're not going to necessarily repeat the same ones all the time. See, I knew it. I knew Kim was going to put that one down. I want to mix it up a little bit too. Like we had the Tiger Eye Chai, and that one will probably come back because it was very, very popular. Half ounce because we're halfway there. But I would love to see what you want to do. I know I am working on one. The White Friday blend. The White Friday blend will be back. That is going to be, I didn't want to talk about Black Friday because then everybody was like, oh, it's going to be a black tea. And I actually used a white tea. So that's why it's a White Friday special. But that one will be back every Black Friday weekend, that Thanksgiving weekend, that will be back. But that's always good to know. Like I said, I just want to kind of get an idea. I am working on one. I was telling some of my friends, I think yesterday, that so I got together with a bunch of gals to do our Bible study yesterday morning, and because it was Valentine's Day, I brought our Valentine tea, which AKA Winter's Kiss, and then I brought another one, and just as a treat. And one of the things that we were talking about is the different teas. And we were talking about some of them, which ones are coming up, available when, and different things. But I've also been kind of tapped by K-State, which I live pretty close to K-State, like just a town away or so. But and so they want a purple tea for one of the events that I do out there, and so I'm working on that right now. But we really enjoy creating the custom teas and creating new teas and different things like that. Aloha Breeze, you have to wait till summer for that one, Kim. That one will be coming up. It'll be closer to summer. We are actually, in fact, I'm going to take this down because I think Aloha Breeze came out and it was an event only tea, but I may have moved it. Like I lost the mouse on my computer. I hate when that happens. There it is. Okay. But I can't remember if I moved it to a seasonal one. Let me see. I wrote myself a note so I wouldn't forget. Let me just double check. Seasonal tea calendar. Nope. So we had thought seriously about making Kim has a stash. We had seriously considered putting Aloha Breeze on like a seasonal. Hey, it's available for 2 or 3 months out of the year, but it did not make the list. Sorry. I think it was at the Mother's Day live. It was at the May live last year, right at the beginning of summer. So kind of that Easter. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do one live sale on the 27th. And then we'll do one probably around after Easter. It will be after Easter in April. That'll be kind of in time for Mother's Day. Then we'll probably do one over the summer and then one in the fall. Because we only do them quarterly. But I'm not shocked, Kim. I have to say, yesterday Kim was there, and I did have to explain what we were talking, because poor people were. I was like, people like to harass Kim about hoarding tea, but she does it because she likes a lot of our seasonal blends, and that was one of the things we were chatting about, is the different seasonal blends. So, all right, next week we're gonna do our Q&A. And so if you have questions, feel free to ask them tonight, obviously, especially if you have a question, or if you have a soup that I didn't mention. I did go with the top, I think, 12 soups, 12 most popular soups. But if you have another soup, or if you have another food that you would like to know what tea to pair with it for your best experience, let me know. You can put in the chat or the comments tonight, or just reach out and let me know, and I can chat about it next week. But next week we're going to do our Q&A. I think Nona likes to tease Kim. I was defending you yesterday, though. I was not teasing you, but I do like to tease you, only because Kim has been to my house, and yes, we have a lot of different blends, because we have all the blends in case there's an order. But Kim knew me before we started Nona's, and she, like Diane, they know that I already had a huge tea stash, and I'm a tea hoarder myself. So I mean, I might tease Kim, but we all know that I'm just as bad. There was a comment before that. Yes, Aloha Breeze. I'm still planning on having Aloha Breeze at that May Mother's Day, April live sale. Yes. So there you go. You can relax, Kim. It's not going to be an every 4-year thing. But there you go. There you go. You gotta do something. Gotta do something. So yes, I will freely admit, I am as much of a tea hoarder as Kim is. I hoard them, but then I go for my favorite 90% of the time, which is the Serene Sunrise. But like I said, you don't know. I might be drinking it tonight, might not. I might be drinking the honey bush combination tonight. You never know. All right. Well, not the full kind that we can sell. Yeah, we're waiting on the big bag, because like I said, when we source ingredients for the tea, a lot of times I will buy 1 ounce or less of a tea and ingredient, and then I'll mess around in the kitchen. And then if we like it, because sometimes we're trying to see, do we like this? Do we like this brand better? Do we like this person's better? And then we're also kind of playing with other ingredients to see what we like and don't like. And then we go and we'll put that order out. And that's sometimes when we're doing a bigger order, those are the ones that typically will get delayed a little bit. So, all right. Well, I don't see any questions popping up, but thanks for joining me. Hopefully you now know some great tricks to pick the perfect tea to go with your soups and your soup lux this year. I will see everybody for Q&A. I hope you have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see y'all later.